Hey Reddit, Randy here. At 52, I've seen a lot of life, the kind you'd expect from a guy who spent a good chunk of his years in the military. Now, I'm the guy who ensures things stay safe and sound, running my own private security firm. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. It's about Amber, my wife, and how our lives have taken a turn I never saw coming. Amber and I, we've been the kind of couple that folks in our small town of Boulder, Colorado, would look at and say, they've got it figured out. We met way back when I was fresh out of service, and she was this vibrant spirit, passionate about every little green thing that poked out of the earth. Her love for botany wasn't just a hobby, it was her life's work. She's got hands that have coaxed life out of the barren winter ground, and she's known for transforming the community garden into a slice of Eden. We've been side by side for 27 years, and not once did I imagine that our paths would be anything but parallel. We supported each other's dreams, her with her blossoming projects and me with my firm. We were the team that could handle anything thrown our way, or so I thought. I've always believed in the basics, loyalty, honesty, and the kind of trust you can only build over years of sticking it out through thick and thin. Amber, with her gentle smiles and her way of making everyone feel like they mattered, seemed to be right there with me. But life has a way of throwing you curveballs, and this one hit me right in the gut. It all started to change when she hit 50. There was a shift, like the kind you feel before a storm breaks. Suddenly, the woman who'd been my rock wanted something different. She wanted an open marriage, a concept so far out of left field for me that it might as well have been in another language. And I, trying to hold on to the image of us that I cherished, agreed to it. If I'm being honest, it felt like agreeing to slowly poison what we had, but I did it anyway, for her. The story I'm laying out here isn't your usual Reddit tale of woe and heartbreak. It's messy, it's raw, and it's real. It's about what happens when the person you built your world around decides they want to change the blueprints without you. It's not just about what Amber did, it's about how I handled it, with the kind of bluntness and cold strategy that my background taught me. So where were we? Right, the birthday bash. Amber's 50th. It was a shindig that would have made the social pages if we cared about that sort of thing. Our backyard was decked out like the botanical gardens themselves. Amber's doing, of course. She's got a knack for making things beautiful. Exotic plants that I can't pronounce the names of, fairy lights in the trees, and this fragrance in the air that was like stepping into another world. It was something else, let me tell you. All our friends were there, the grill was going, and Amber was floating through the crowd like some kind of earth goddess, all smiles and laughter. Hey everyone. Unfortunately, basically everyone who is watching these videos isn't subscribed. It would mean the world to me to quickly get out of the full screen video for 3 seconds and press that subscribe button. It's free, and you can unsubscribe anytime. Sorry for bothering, and thank you so much if you subscribed. I watched her, proud as any man could be of his wife, thinking we were celebrating another milestone we'd reached together. Little did I know, we were on the edge of a cliff I didn't even see. After the guests had left and the quiet of the night settled in, Amber sat me down on the porch. The air was still warm, and the only light was from the dying embers of the barbecue, and those fairy lights now seeming more like a stage set for what was about to unfold. "Randy," she said, and I could tell this was going to be one of those conversations that changes everything. I've been doing a lot of thinking about what I want in my life, what makes me happy. I remember nodding, still clueless, thinking maybe she wanted to travel or start a new project. But then she dropped the bomb. "I want us to have an open marriage." I swear the world stopped spinning for a second. Open marriage? My brain couldn't wrap around it. This was Amber, my Amber, talking about seeing other people. Like dating? Like sleeping around? I felt like I'd been punched. This wasn't us. This was some Hollywood drama nonsense, not Randy and Amber from Boulder. I didn't get it. Was I not enough? Did I do something wrong? Questions were firing off in my head like a machine gun, but I just sat there, looking at her, trying to find the woman I thought I knew in her eyes. She talked about freedom, exploration, about being honest with each other and ourselves. She had it all thought out, said it would be good for us, that it was modern. Modern? I'm a simple man. I believe in one person for life, the vows we took seriously. This was out of my league. But here's the kicker. I said yes. I don't know if it was the shock, the fear of losing her, or some messed up sense of love that made me do it. I agreed to this open marriage thing. Inside I was screaming, but I kept it all in. That's what I do. I keep things secure, even if it's my own breaking heart. Amber, bless her, has never been one for gadgets. Give her a pot of soil and a seed and she's happy. But after that night on the porch, she got herself a new smartphone. Not just any phone, the latest, shiniest one that makes mine look like something out of the dark ages. At first, I thought it was sweet. Good for her, I told myself, embracing the new tech. She was all thumbs at the start, but man, did she get the hang of it fast. Suddenly, she's talking greenhouse climate control systems, moisture sensors, and rare orchids that need just the right amount of everything to bloom. She was in deep, always chatting away in these forums and groups. Or so I thought. Then came the night that changed the game. I'd woken up midnight or something, thirsty for a glass of water. I shuffled into the kitchen, and that's when I heard her, soft as a whisper, but clear as day. "I miss you," she breathed into the phone, and it wasn't about missing the sunlight or the rain. There was a tenderness there, the kind that used to be for me. My heart, folks, it didn't just sink, it plummeted. I stood there, in the dark, the glass of water forgotten in my hand, feeling like someone had just told me the world was flat. This wasn't about climate control or plant species. This was something else, something personal. Now, I've been trained to handle all kinds of threats, to stay cool when the pressure's on, but this was a different kind of adversary. It was betrayal, and it was living in my house, sleeping in my bed. I didn't confront her, not then. I needed to know more, to understand what was happening before I blew it all up. So I did what any guy with a background in security would do. I started paying attention. I became a ghost in my own life, watching, listening, picking up on every little detail that I'd been too blind to see before. It was time to gather intel, to figure out who was encroaching on my territory. And that, Reddit, is how I went from being a husband to a sleuth in my own marriage. It's not a role I ever wanted, but there I was, piecing together a puzzle I wasn't sure I wanted to see completed. But I'm a man who believes in facing the truth, no matter how ugly it might be. So I braced myself, ready to dig deeper. Hey, Reddit, back again. It's Randy. So, after hearing Amber on the phone that night, things got weird at home. It was like we were both pretending everything was fine, but it wasn't. Then one day, I'm alone at the house and decide to poke around in Amber's greenhouse. It's usually her place, but something was pulling me in. I'm looking around, just killing time, when I see this desk she's got in there. One of the drawers is a bit open. I'm not a nosy guy, but something about that drawer seemed off. I walk over, tell myself I'll just close it and leave it alone. Yeah, that didn't happen. I pull open the drawer and there's a bunch of letters. These aren't like bills or junk mail. They're personal and they're all fancy with words and stuff. They're talking about missing someone and feeling things, and there's a lot of talk about plants, but it's not really about plants, if you know what I mean. I read these letters and my heart is sinking. They're to Amber, but they're not from me. Someone's writing to my wife about being together, and it's all hidden behind words about gardening. It's like they're using code, but it's pretty clear what's going on. I felt punched in the gut. Angry? Sure, but mostly just really hurt. I thought about yelling at her when she got home, asking her about these letters, making a big scene, but that's not how I do things. I'm the guy who's calm and gets the job done, not the guy who loses his cool. So I put the letters back, act like I saw nothing, and start thinking, what's my next move? I've got to figure this out, but I've got to be smart about it. This whole thing is a mess, and I'm right in the middle of it. After finding those letters, I couldn't just sit around. I had to figure out what was going on. I put on my thinking cap and went over every word in those letters, trying to make sense of all the fancy plant talk. Now, I'm no Sherlock Holmes, but I know how to put two and two together. The letters kept talking about the arborist like he was some kind of hero in a movie. I guess for Amber he was. This guy wasn't just talking about trees and plants. No, he was saying stuff that you don't say to someone's wife. Not unless you're up to no good. I decided to dig a little deeper. Who was this arborist? Was it just a nickname? Or was this guy really into trees? I went through Amber's stuff, the gardening books, the receipts for all her plant stuff, looking for any clue that could tell me more. It hit me late one night when I was going through her computer. She had a bunch of emails about some big-shot guest speaker coming to town to talk about trees. The arborist, the email called him. That was my guy. He was coming here to Boulder, and something told me it wasn't just for the trees. I started to lay out a plan. I had to meet this guy, see what he was all about. But I wasn't going to just walk up and ask him. No, I had to be clever, had to catch him when he didn't see it coming. I had to know what Amber saw in him, what he was saying to her, what made her think all this sneaking around was worth it. And I'll tell you, Reddit, I wasn't going to let this guy just walk into my life and mess things up without putting up a fight. Okay, Reddit, Randy checking in again. Now, let's get to the big show. Amber's been buzzing about this rare orchid for weeks. It's some fancy plant that's hard to find and even harder to grow. She's in charge of showing it off at the botanical gardens, and everybody who's anybody in Boulder's green scene is going to be there. I've got my plan ready. It's the day of the orchid thing, and I'm feeling like I'm about to step into a boxing ring. My guts are twisted, but my mind is clear. This is it, the day I face off with the arborist and find out what's really been going on. I show up at the gardens, and it's packed. People are everywhere, cameras are flashing, and there's this big curtain around the main event, the orchid. Amber's floating around, all smiles, doing her host thing. I see her, but I'm not here for her, not yet. I'm looking for him. Then I see this guy, standing off to the side, looking all important. He's got that I'm a big deal vibe. That's gotta be him. The arborist. I keep my cool and move through the crowd, acting like I'm just there to see the plant. Amber starts her speech, talking about the orchid, how rare it is, how it's a symbol of beauty and resilience. I'm standing there, listening, waiting for my moment. Then she says his name, invites him up to talk about the plant. As he walks up, our eyes meet. Does he know who I am? I can't tell. He starts talking, and I'm just watching, waiting. Then it's time. I wait for a pause in the chatter, a moment when the next word hangs in the air like a jump ball, and I take my shot. Nice speech, I say, loud enough for heads to turn. But I'm curious. What does our guest think about loyalty? About honesty? Seems to me those are pretty rare these days too. The crowd goes quiet. You could hear a leaf drop. Amber's face goes white, and the arborist. He's looking at me like he's trying to figure out if I'm just some crazy guy or if the jig is up. I don't give him time to think. You see, folks, this man here has been sharing more than just his love for plants with my wife. And I think it's only fair that we talk about that, don't you? It's all out now. All the pain, the anger, the betrayal. It's out there for everyone to see. Amber's looking at me, then at him, and I can see the panic in her eyes. The crowd is whispering, murmuring, the buzz growing louder. There I am, in the middle of this packed event, with all eyes on me, Amber, and the arborist. I'm holding one of those letters I found, the one with all the flowery words that weren't about flowers at all. The room's dead silent now, and I start reading. Your essence is the roots that ground me, I read out loud. People are looking around, confused, like they think it's part of the show. Our connection grows, unfettered by the confines of traditional gardens. Amber's face is a picture you don't forget. She's staring at me. All that calm and control she's got is just crumbling away. The crowd's getting the picture now, the whispers are getting louder, and I keep going. Together we are wild, natural, untamed, I say, my voice getting louder. You are the rarest bloom in my personal garden. No one's in doubt now about what's going on. This isn't about plants. It's about my wife and this guy. The guy, the arborist, he's just standing there, not saying a word. Amber's looking like she wants the earth to swallow her up, and I can't blame her. This is her world, and it's all coming undone right here, right now. I look at her, really look at her. This what you wanted, Amber? This what open looks like. I'm not yelling, but every word hits hard. I don't wait for her to answer. I don't need to. I loved you, I say, and it's like the whole room takes a breath. But I guess I was just another plant in your garden, huh? One you got tired of watering. I fold the letter, tuck it back in my pocket, and give the arborist a nod. Take care of her, man. She's all yours. And I walk out. Just like that. I don't look back. I can feel the stares, hear the whispers, but I don't care. I've said my piece, dropped the mic, it's over. Walking out of those gardens, I feel like a weight's been lifted. It's not a happy feeling, not by a long shot, but it's something. Maybe relief, maybe just the first step in moving on. I get in my truck, start the engine, and drive. I don't know where I'm going, but it doesn't matter. I'm leaving that garden behind, and whatever comes next, well, it's gotta be better than what I'm leaving behind. I didn't stick around for the gossip. I went straight to a buddy's place, someone I knew I could trust. I needed time to think, away from the stares and the whispers. But I wasn't about to hide. I had things to do, moves to make. First things first, I called a lawyer. No more games. No more waiting to see what Amber might do next. I told the lawyer straight up, the marriage was over and I wanted out. The papers were drawn up fast, I signed them, and they were delivered to Amber. I didn't see her face when she got them, but I can imagine. Then I took care of the finances. Joint accounts got split, credit cards got canceled. Anything that tied us together, I cut it. It was like taking down a building, piece by piece. You don't want it to fall all at once, you take it apart so you can clear the site and build something new. I won't lie, it hurt. It felt like I was tearing out parts of my life. But it had to be done. I had to protect myself, my business, my future. I wasn't going to let Amber's choices take me down. The house was next. I loved that place, but it was full of memories of us, and I needed a clean start. I called a realtor, told them to sell it. I'd find somewhere new, somewhere without ghosts in every room. And my pride, well, that took a hit. But I'm a soldier at heart. I lick my wounds, I get back up. I started hitting the gym harder, picked up a few new contracts for the business, kept myself busy. I'm rebuilding, step by step. It's not just about getting back to where I was, it's about going further, getting stronger. Trust, though, that's a tougher one. I don't know when I'll be ready to trust someone like that again. But I'm working on it. I've got friends, people who've been there for me through all this mess. They're helping me keep the faith that not everyone's out there to backstab you. So there you have it, Reddit. The story of how my marriage ended and how I started over. It's been a hell of a thing and I'm not through it yet, but I'm moving forward, one step at a time, and that's all any of us can do, right? Thanks for listening. It's actually helped, getting it all out like this. Here's to new beginnings, no matter how tough they are to come by. It would mean the world to me if you could subscribe to the channel. Thanks and have a great rest of your day or night.